So we've received a question from a school nurse who has an 11-year-old pupil who is worried about her wig coming off during PE and is asking us if we have any suggestions. Jen, you've had wigs at school. Do you have any advice for this pupil?
I think probably advice that I wish I had had when I was younger. Wig tape is probably a good one in this instance. I never really knew about wig tape until I was much older with alopecia. There is tapes that you can get out there that are quite strong as well. So for like PE, I remember having to do PE and you're doing kind of high jumping things. Somehow my wig didn't come off, and I think it's because I had the type of wig that you could tighten and keep it on quite tight, so it didn't go anywhere. But to give that extra security, I would say either wig tape or there's little wig tabs that you can get that are quite strong, and then with one of them on, generally your wig wouldn't budge, but it's going to depend on your wig as well, because there's certain type of wigs where depending on the plastic of the base, some wig tapes might not even stick to them, but a lot of wigs will have an area where you can stick on a bit of wig tape, so you need to ask sort of your wig supplier really what type of wig you've got and whether wig tape will work on it. Alternatively, there are wigs out there that you can get that are kind of quite vacuumed onto sort of your head, and they probably wouldn't move either, but some wigs like that can be quite expensive and aren't necessarily an option for everybody. So in that instance, I would say definitely look into wig tape.
Could you perhaps use bandanas or headbands? Would they give any extra security if you wore something that was maybe quite a tight fitting elastic?
So again, that's another thing I used to do when I was older, and for swimming and going to the gym, I would tape my wig on and then I would use a band to tie it round, and I'd tie my hair up, and that just gave a bit of extra security, but I was also mainly using that to hide the edges of the wig as well. But a band, that could help.
And then maybe for this person who is maybe feeling quite insecure about wearing a wig for PE, can you give any sort of reassurance in terms of, did your wig ever come off during a games lesson?
I don't think it did actually. I think I was always that kind of conscious of it, that it didn't come off in PE or anything. And again, some of the wigs you get, they can be quite secure just by tightening them. I think I used to Velcro, and I'd put the Velcro on quite tight, which I wouldn't have on all day because it could kind of give me a headache by the end of the day. But for PE, I'd certainly tighten it on the tightest day and it would go. And it was quite sort of tight to my head. And as well, I know a lot of people do want to wear wigs, but don't discount kind of options of just quickly changing into some kind of bandana or headscarf type thing, because they can be a lot more comfortable for exercising in the gym. And I guess one of the things as well to just be aware of with the wig tapes, and I've not road tested this myself, but I suppose because you can get quite hot under your wig, your head can get quite sweaty. Sometimes that does loosen certain types of tape. Some of the stronger tapes, they might still kind of stay stuck. I guess it's just trying a few different ones out really, and see which ones work for you.
I think you touched upon something quite important though, in terms of, it might not feel like an option right now in terms of not wearing a wig for PE, but we do hear from a lot of people who make the step in towards, telling people about their alopecia, and there being a little bit of, education and awareness, because they are struggling to do something. And it is that whole, it's one of the things that we're really keen to promote at the charity, that alopecia shouldn't stop you from doing the things that you enjoy.
You want people to have the options, don't you, and to look into these things, because looking back for me, we were chatting earlier, weren't we, and I know looking back for me, I kind of, that first 6 months, I think I didn't even do PE at secondary school, and on a Wednesday afternoon I used to go and sit with the student teachers, and I used to give all my friends the excuse that, I've got bad ears or something like that, because they would all say, why aren't you doing PE? And I look back and I think it's a shame now that I just hid away and I missed out on doing 6 months of PE, or like that first term of PE. And this is where now, from us and our learning, we can see that, if you do go in and do education and awareness in schools, we've heard from so many young people who've just said, this happened and it's just changed my experience of school. and everyone's kind of alright with it now, so then you hopefully can get to that point where it's all about choice and feeling like you've got options, isn't it? That you can quickly maybe take your wig off in the private and put a headscarf on and just feel a lot more comfortable doing PE and stuff.
I'm guessing lots of you may have had this experience of wanting to keep your wig on for physical exercise. If you've got any tips for this young lady, please leave them in the comments below.